Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Hare Hare
Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
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 Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram Hare
Ram,
Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Ram, Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare Ram Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Ram, Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare
Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Ram,
Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram 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 Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram Hare
Ram,
Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna Krishna,
Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare 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 Ram,
Go Nitai, go Nitai, go Nitai, go Nitai, go Nitai.
Gonitai, 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 Gonitai,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare
Gonitai,
Rama
Gonitai, Gonitai.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Haribo. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all glories to the members of the Prabhupada Disciples Association. Thank you, everyone, for coming on time and being a part of this sadhana program that we have created for ourselves by the mercy of Śrīla Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which gives us an opportunity to get association with like-minded devotees who are interested in protecting the legacy of Śrīla Prabhupada in his eternal Vani incarnation. Very important. And we have a new schedule of activity in our invitation. And I want to thank Ram Raghava Prabhu, yes, for stepping up and being a part of this mission with us. This is a cooperative effort, non-sectarian, of devotees that are focused on protecting Prabhupada's legacy through his Vani incarnation. And this new schedule of events will be a part of what we call the PhD program in Krishna Consciousness. People have said to us on many occasions, oh, you should do a Bhakti program. Well, our experience and my experience goes back to 1971. When I joined the mission in 1971 in January. And in that year, in July, I got first initiation personally from Śrīla Prabhupada in Detroit. Plus, I received his orts, his personal remnants from his plate as a gift from him and Lord Chaitanya. Why? Because I was the temple commander in Hamilton. I used to clean the bathrooms. And I was assigned to clean Prabhupada's washroom in Detroit. And everybody was doing service, so I was given that service. In exchange for that, I was allowed to sit in his room as Bhakta Bob and hear him speak privately to a small group of devotees back then. And then at the end of during the program, they brought in prasadam to the room. And it was a big platter of prasadam. And Prabhupada only took a little bit. He wasn't, trying to eat all the prasadam. In fact, he only took a small amount. And then he said, go ahead. He motioned to all of us to get the prasadam. And none of us moved. The last thing I was going to do was stand up and walk over there, Bhakti Bob, and take a prasadam remnants. I didn't. And then Prabhupada looked at us and he said this very important statement, which has been marked in my brain since then, since 1971. He said, never be shy when doing business and taking prasadam. Very interesting. So accepting the remnants of the pure devotee is a great mercy on the conditioned soul, and we should never be reluctant to take the mercy of the pure devotee spiritual master. Yes. And I took my little piece of prasadam. I still remember kind of moving through everybody and humbly. Yes, it was humble. I was a young man. Prabhupada was the pure devotee spiritual master, manifested in his transcendental books for us, in his Vani incarnation. And we believed that he was Krishna's representative on the material platform. Yes, we believed it. It wasn't just we were sentimentally involved. We were surrendered. Yes, people were surrendered back then. It was different. And we surrendered everything. Everything that we owned. Everything that we did. We had nothing except the opportunity to serve the pure devotee. And that was the spirit back then. It was Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, wasn't it? Everything. Not held back one penny. I had no bank account for years, 8 years, zero, no money. But we were happy because we had a chance to take up the banner of Lord Chaitanya, and we worked very hard. We used to go on Sankirtan all day. All day. Go on Young Street all day. And then come back and chant and get a little prasadam and go to sleep and get up and get in the line. We had one bathroom, Ram Raghava, with 18 people taking a shower before 4:15 in the morning. One washroom. I can remember what we did. We developed a system because we couldn't have people wait in line. So what we did is it was all brahmacharis in the room. So we had everybody keep their kalpans on. And then myself and my friend, when I joined the movement, was Uddhama Shloka, Rod Marinelli. We stood in the washroom and guided people into the washroom. I held the hose, and what we did was we sprayed each person down like a car wash. Boom, boom, boom. And they had their kalpams on, and then they went through. It was like we could wash a person in 30 seconds. Soap up, okay. Nothing except the service of our spiritual master. And we were happy. Oh yes, we were. We were free. Brahmacharya means freedom. That's what the term means. You have no responsibility for anything except service. And that service will set you free. So Prabhupada was very kind to all of us, yes, with this opportunity to take up the mission of Lord Chaitanya with enthusiasm. And I've been a devotee since 1971. I was initiated by Śrīla Prabhupāda personally in Detroit. And then in 1972, I got Brahmin initiation. He spoke it in my ear. There's a pole pastime there. I won't tell it today. He spoke it in my ear in New York City. I have a beautiful picture of me out front in 1972 after I got my initiation. I was the last person on the list, actually, back then. And I managed by circumstance to get squeezed in at the last minute to get my Brahmin initiation. I was very eager to get it. I wanted to do that. You've got to be eager to understand the mercy of the spiritual master and take shelter of him in your service to him. And so we have these new schedule of events. I wanted to, before we go forward, mention that we have a Vyas Puja book that we're developing. That means written material from our members here, all of our members. This is a non-sectarian group. We're not promoting this person. We promote one person, Śrīla Prabhupāda, and we promote his service as our service. And in this way, we are focused on this process of devotional service. One guru, one mission. And that mission was clearly explained by Śrīla Prabhupāda in his concluding words to Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is a 17-volume, he came out to 17 volumes of books that he wrote. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita was the favorite book of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, his favorite book. And I've been blessed, all of us are blessed with this opportunity to read it. I've read the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita in the last 10 years, the whole 17 volumes 3 times. And I'm looking forward, as I move forward in my old age, Viprahita Das, as we move forward in our old age, to take up the reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita as your sole mission. Yes, because the nectar that Śrīla Prabhupada shares in these books is truly representative of his Vani incarnation. And the words of the spiritual master are the mercy that we all receive from him by taking shelter of them every day of our lives. Yes, you have to be focused. It's samadhi. And let's go to it, Ram Raghava. I wanted to read this last paragraph. It's very important for us to see this and meditate on it. I'm going to an ISKCON center today, by the way, everyone. Oh, no. Yes, I've been invited by a devotee in Markham, Ontario, who is the leader of this. She's an initiate of Prabhupada's. She was given initiation from Vishnu Tattva, my godbrother, years ago. And somehow or other, she's hooked up with this ISKCON group. She's the president, and they've invited me. I don't know if they realize what's going to happen when I get there, Ram Raghava. I won't hold back. This is not something where I'm trying to be compromised and show up there. I'm trying to focus on distributing the original Bhagavad Gitas. I already have them in my bag at the door. I have about 40 original Bhagavad, it looks like 21 now. So I'm taking 10 Bhagavad Gitas as they are, as it is. This one. Now I'm thinking also to take, this is it. This is the one that Abhimanyu printed in Russia. It's a perfect replication of that original Gita. But I have them here, and I'm going to take them with me. My goal is not to chastise these people. Okay, Ram Raghava? I'm not there to chastise them. I want to inspire them with transcendental knowledge of who Prabhupada is and how he exists still in the Bhagavad Gita. And this particular section, what we're reading right now, is a definitive explanation of it. Viprahita Das. This is specific. It's not something to change. It's something you should put in your mind, memorize it, and remember it all throughout your last days of this life, and my last days too, of course. On today's Sunday, here we are, November 10th, 1974, corresponding to the 10th of Kartik, Chaitanya era, 1488, the 11th day of the dark fortnight, the Ram Ekadasi, we have now finished the English translation of Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in accordance with the authorized order of His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj, my beloved eternal spiritual master, guide, and friend. So insert your name here and insert Prabhupada's name, and that is the correct way to look at Śrīla Prabhupada if you're a sincere devotee. Sincere, not confused. Although according to material vision, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, passed away from this material world on the last day of December 1936. I still consider His Divine Grace to be always present with me by His Vani words, His words. Remember, this is not me speaking. This is Prabhupada speaking to you, not me. Don't kill the messenger. There are two ways of associating, by Vani and Vapu. Vani means words, and Vapu means physical presence. Physical presence is sometimes appreciable. Yes, no question. I've had Prabhupada's feet on my head in New Vrindavan, and sometimes not. But Vani continues to exist eternally. Therefore, we must take advantage of the Vani, not the physical presence. We must take advantage of the Vani, not the physical presence. Bhagavad Gita, for example, is the Vani of Lord Krishna. Although Krishna was personally present 5,000 years ago and is no longer physically present from the materialistic point of view, Bhagavad Gita continues. So I'm going to read this to these people at this ISKCON Center, and then I'm going to present to them the opportunity to get Śrīla Prabhupada's books in his unchanged volume. And let's see how we do. And I'll report back to everybody. Let's hope some of them take the book and relish the opportunity to get them. It was a very expensive endeavor, Ram Raghava, by the way, for me to get these Gitas. I ordered them from Maduha in America. And I think they cost something like $200. But guess how much the shipping was? $500. It cost me $500 to get two cases of Bhagavad Gita sent by U.S. Postal. So shipping is very expensive. At the same time, at least I have them, and I'm equipped with these transcendental atomic bombs to go to ISKCON Markham, whatever that is, and preach to these people on Prabhupada's existence in his words in the Bhagavad Gita through his Vani incarnation. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And please bless me, everyone, with the potency to be able to explain Prabhupada's message without any change. Hare Krishna. Okay, we're going to move forward with the next section of this program. What are we doing, Ram Raghava? What are we doing? What's our next program?
Next is the short Śrīla Prabhupada lecture. It's 6 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So everybody, please listen carefully and we'll move on with the program. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam.
There are 6 symptoms of presentation of presence of the soul. Growth is one of the important. So growth. As soon as the soul is out of this body, no more growth. If the child comes dead, there is no growth. The parents will say, it is useless, throw it. So similarly, Lord Krishna gave the first example to Arjuna, that don't think that the spiritual spark which is within the body, due to whose presence the body is growing, from childhood to boyhood, boyhood to youthhood, from youth to old age. So, when this body becomes useless, imperceptibly, the soul gives up this body, Bhashansi jinnani tathavyaya, just like we give up old dress and take another new dress. Similarly, we accept another body. And we accept that another body not according my selection. That selection depends on the law of nature. That selection depends on the law of nature. You cannot say at the time of death, but you can think of. You can say that I'm to see individuality, and that selection is all there. Jang jang baapi smaran leke, smaran loki tajastante kalibaram. Just at the time of your death, your mentality, your thoughts will develop. You will get the next part according to that body. So the intelligent man who is not crazy, he should understand that I am not this body. First thing, I am not this body. Then he will understand that what is his duty. As spirit soul, what is his duty? His duty is, that is stated in this Bhagavad Gita, in the last verse of the 9th chapter. The duty is manmana bhava. You are thinking something. Every one of us embodied, we think something. Without thinking, for a moment you cannot stay. That is not possible. This is the duty. You think of Krishna. You think of Krishna. You have to think something. So what is the harm if you think of Krishna? Krishna has got so many activities, so many literature, and so many things. Krishna comes here, we have got volumes and volumes of books. If you want to think of Krishna, we can supply you so many literature that you cannot finish with your whole life. If you 24 hours read. So thinking of Krishna, then is sufficient. Think of Krishna. Manmana bhava. I can think of you. Just like a person who is serving some boss, he's always thinking of that boss. I have to attend that at 9 o'clock. That boss will be displeased. He's thinking for some purpose. That sort of thinking will not do. Then therefore he says, Bhavamad Bhakta. You just think of me with love. When the master, when the servant thinks of the master, there is no love. He is thinking for pound shilling pence. Because if I do not attend my office just at 9 o'clock, they will be late and I can lose $2. Therefore he is thinking of, not of the master, he is thinking of that pound shilling pence. So that sort of thinking will not save you. Therefore he says, Bhava Mad Bhakta. You just become my devotee. Then the thinking of me is nice. And what is that? Bhakti, Mad Bhakta, devotional. Devotion means service. Madhyaji. You render some service to the Lord. That we are engaged here. Always, whenever you come, you will find us engaged in some duties. We are manufactured some duties. Just to think of Krishna only.
It's key here. The comment was Prabhupada said, there are so many literatures that I've created so you can read on all your life and always think of Krishna. So we can always remember that and take shelter of reading every day. I read the Krishna book this morning, Rochisha Devi Dasi. Very interesting pastimes. So carry on, everyone, and enjoy yourself. We're going to move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then the reading and discussion with His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu from the original Delhi Bhagavatams, which we are now getting ready to receive at our warehouse and then start distribution globally. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Haribol.
Sign. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim saraswatim vyasam. Devim saraswatim vyasam. Tato jayam mudirayat. Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the first canto, second chapter, which explains the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Yadanudyasina yukta karmagranti nibandanam chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat kataratim. Intelligent persons do cut off the internet of the knot of reactionary work by remembrance of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not give attention to his message? Shushrushuhu Shrdadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Shrinvatam svakata Krishna punyasravana kirtana hridyantasto yabadrani vidhunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayeshu vabhadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class, or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil. And thus, loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalo bhadayaschaye chete ranaviddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarvasamshaya kshiyante chasya karmani drishtaye vatmanishwari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. Let us proceed with our reading this week, the specific verse. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 7, text number 6. All English synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Anartha upasamam sakshad bhakti yogam madhukshaji lokasya janato vidvams chakre satpata samhitam. Anartha, things which are superfluous. Upashamam, mitigation. Sakshat, directly. Bhakti yogam, the linking up process of devotional service. Adokshaje, unto the transcendence. Lokasya, of the general mass of men. Ajanataha, those who are unaware of. Vidvan, the supreme learned. Chakre, compiled. Sattvata, in relation with the supreme truth. Samhita, Vedic literature. Translation. Material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous for him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation with the supreme truth. Purport by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Śrīla Vyasadeva saw the all-perfect personality of Godhead. This statement suggests the complete unit of the personality of Godhead include his parts and parcels also. He saw, therefore, his different energies, namely the internal energy, the marginal energy, as well as the external energy. He saw also his different plenary portions and part of plenary portions, namely his different incarnations also, and he specifically observed the unwanted miseries of the conditioned souls who are bewildered by the external energy. And at last he saw the remedial measure for the conditioned souls, namely the linking up process of devotional service. It is a great transcendental science and begins with the process of hearing and chanting of the name, fame, glory, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Revival of the dormant affection or love of Godhead does not depend on the mechanical system of hearing and chanting, but is solely and wholly depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. When the Lord is fully satisfied with the sincere efforts of the devotees, he may endow such pure devotee with his loving transcendental service. But even in the prescribed forms of hearing and chanting, there is at once mitigation of the superfluous and unwanted miseries of material existence. Such mitigation of material affection does not wait for development of transcendental knowledge. Rather, knowledge is dependent on devotional service for ultimate realization of the supreme truth. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prasantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandana Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadana Srinam Danteridam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimad-Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso asmi sarvata tat kripa pikshako nityam tat presta chat karomi svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This particular verse given by Śrīla Prabhupāda is very, very important because it gives a very, very good view of the process of bhakti. Now, this is very important. We see here how to reduce the material miseries. Yesterday we discussed how in any part of the world, everyone is affected by the miseries of material existence, whether you're in Belarus, whether you're in Russia, Canada, United States, Poland, Mongolia, Uruguay, Brazil. It doesn't matter where you are from, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're intelligent or dumb, whether beautiful or not beautiful, whether you're strong or weak, whether you are in any religious category or anything. Everyone in the material world is subject to the miseries of material existence. There was one conversation with Prabhupada was discussing with a specific religionist of another denomination. And Prabhupada raised the issue, does the Christian or the Muslim or the Jew not get old? Do they not suffer from old age and disease? Do they not die? Do they not suffer from birth? Everyone suffers from that. But in this material world, there's no solution. There was one conversation yesterday a devotee sent me, how Śrīla Prabhupada, we are not in the business of opening hospitals or philanthropic activities. Prabhupada said, no, we don't do that. And Prabhupada says, we are a spiritual hospital. Yeah, we run a hospital, a chain of hospitals, how to solve the ultimate problem of material existence. And this is nicely described here. It is described, material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous for him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service, bhakti yoga. But the mass of people do not know this. And therefore, the learned Vyasadeva has compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation with the supreme truth. Now think of this for a moment. Because many people say, well, you people are just putting too much emphasis on the books, too much emphasis just on Prabhupada. But the point is, what is that book? The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Śrīmad-Bhāgavad Gita and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says here that this Vedic literature, which is in relation with the supreme truth, and these miseries can be directly mitigated by linking process of devotional service. This is a causeless gift. This is a beautiful gift which has been given by Śrīla Prabhupada, his transcendental purports, his revelation of the position of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead Lord Krishna. Now this is very significant. Because where in the history of the world do you find such sublime transcendental literature? This verse, I was doing a little bit of devotional reading yesterday of how many times Śrīla Prabhupada quoted this particular verse in his different lectures. I mean, there are so many, hundreds of times. And I started to make a compilation of how Śrīla Prabhupada was explaining in so many different varieties, from so many different angles, the meaning of this most important verse. It is absolutely amazing. It is astounding to see all the varieties and the intricacies, how one verse is being quoted by Śrīla Prabhupada in dozens and hundreds of ways to explain the meaning of this most important point, how devotional service, bhakti yoga, can cure the miseries of the living entities. Here is an example. This is from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, text 36 and 37. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, text 36 and 37. One first has to control the mind so that the desires of the mind can be purified. This process is described in the Narada Pancharatra as Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam, cited in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19:170. Unless one purifies his mind, there is no question of getting free from the material condition, as stated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Anarto pasamam sakshad bhakti yogam adukshaje lokasya janatu vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva has compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the Supreme. Anarthas, unwantings, come down from one bodily life to another. Now this is the solution. In another place in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, there's a nice description of how the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is called Chakre Sattvata Samhitam. This is called Sattvata Samhita for the devotees, the compilation for the benefit of the devotees. But it's important to note that to understand Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one has to raise himself to the platform of Nirmatsaranam Param. In the first 3 verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, there is a summary, and the description is given. What is the real benefit? How did this transcendental literature come about? This is from canto number 1, chapter 1, text number 2 and 3. Very, very important point raised here. Dharma prajita kaitava atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. In this Bhagavat Puranam, all so-called religious activities covered by fruitive intentions are completely rejected. And the highest truth understandable, I'm reading here from the 1962 translation, are completely rejected, and the highest truth understandable by the 100% pure-hearted devotees is inculcated. The highest truth is the factual reality distinguished from the shadow he described herein, for everyone's well-being and causing uprooting of the threefold miseries. The beautiful Bhagavatam is compiled by the great sage Sri Vyasadeva in his mature stage, and as such, what is the need of other scriptures for self-realization? As soon as a person applies his attentive and submissive oral reception to the messages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the Supreme Lord at once becomes fixed up, compact by such culture of knowledge. Now, what is especially significant here is how Śrīla Prabhupāda has translated Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam, the last few words of the first line of the text. Prabhupada explains, the highest truth understandable by the 100% pure-hearted devotees. Those who are still malicious or envious or jealous of other living beings have no entrance in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That is absolutely irrelevant how scholarly one may be, how learned one may be. No, in order to enter into this literature, one has to get rid of that envy tendency. Why did Lord Krishna describe the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? There's nice description in the Bhagavad Gita itself. Because you are not envious. There was one devotee who, in a conversation with Śrīla Prabhupada, once asked him, how can we get rid of envy, Śrīla Prabhupada? How can we get rid of this envy in the heart? And Prabhupada's reply was, do not become envious of your spiritual master. Now, this is a very important point. Everybody has seen from the Mahabhagavat assembly line, the Paramamsa factory, persons who exhibit envy against Śrīla Prabhupada, imitating Śrīla Prabhupada impudently. And even though these persons were told that this imitation is very dangerous, it is not sanctioned by the scriptures, it is not authorized by Śrīla Prabhupada himself, they stubbornly kept doing it. And the result, it was seen what happened in 1986-87. The imitators received their karma. This is a very important point. In order to progress in spiritual life, one has to stop that disease mentality of imitation and envy of the Acharya. In order to make progress in spiritual life, one has to be very, very careful. Very careful. Very nice posting by Rupa Goswami in the chat. He quotes here from the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 7, I believe. Regarding accepting initiation from the spiritual master, In the 11th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 17th chapter, 22nd verse, it is stated by Lord Krishna, "My dear Uddhava, the spiritual master must be accepted not only as my representative, but as my very self. He must never be considered on the same level with an ordinary human being. One should never be envious of the spiritual master as one may be envious of an ordinary man. The spiritual master should always be seen as the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by serving the spiritual master, one is able to serve all the demigods." Now, this is a very important point, because there is a very deep misunderstanding that prevails with the anti-Prabhupada party. They do not study carefully the statements of Śrīla Prabhupada. Therefore, they come to the wrong conclusion, such as what they did when they filed in the United States Copyright Office in Washington, D.C., that Prabhupada was a worker for hire, like an employee of their corporation. This shows you the level of collective wisdom of the anti-Prabhupada party. Be very careful not to be victimized by the false propaganda of the anti-Prabhupada party. Back to you in the studio. Thank you very much. To whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting explanation of today's verse by you, and thank you. And further, looking at the verse and purport today, it brought up a real question that I want to answer for us in terms of the process of hearing and chanting. Because sometimes one of my godbrothers was saying to us, he used to come to our program years ago. He's since gone on his own. But he was explaining that in order to become Krishna conscious, you first have to develop love for the Guru. This was his basic principle. And he said that most people, they take up devotional service, it's mechanical. It's not really devotional. And in this way, people were confused that they were taking up devotional service by chanting their rounds every day and reading the books. And it was just mechanical because you didn't have love for your guru. And here, in this particular purport, Prabhupada explains the real essence of Krishna consciousness, how to become self-realized. But he says here, let's go to it, revival of the dormant affection of Godhead does not depend on the mechanical system of hearing and chanting, but is solely and wholly dependent on the causeless mercy of the Lord. Does that mean that we shouldn't chant our rounds? Does that mean that we shouldn't study the books? No, it doesn't. But he's putting a condition here. This is the misunderstanding that this person has. He's saying it's a question of your intent, your purpose. What is your purpose? Is it to follow the rules and regulations? Is that all? No. You're working towards your sincere process of invoking the mercy of the Lord, and therefore allowing you to get the benefit of hearing and chanting. So it's intent, it's sincerity of purpose that's the issue. It's not simply chanting, because you can chant offenselessly, or you can chant with offense. And if you chant with offense, will you make advancement? No. And we'll read the offenses later. So you have to study these offenses, memorize them, Like, for example, disobeying the order of the spiritual master. Can you make advancement if you disobey Prabhupada's orders? Well, if you don't know his orders, you don't even know what you're doing wrong. So you have to study. So there's a clarification here. And further, we'll go ahead. When the Lord is fully satisfied with the sincere efforts of the devotees, he may endow such pure devotee with his loving transcendental service. But even in the prescribed forms of hearing and chanting, so it is prescribed, let's not be confused here that you give up the process of hearing and chanting. It's prescribed, but it is not the way that you become self-realized. Prabhupada is explaining here, such mitigation of material affection does not wait for development of transcendental knowledge, mitigation through the practice. Rather, knowledge is dependent on devotional service for ultimate realization of the supreme truth. You see that back and forth, Ram Raghava? How Prabhupada's going back and forth? And Prabhupada said this very simply, everyone. He said, don't try to see Krishna. Don't try to make that mechanical effort. Act in such a way that Krishna will see you. That's what his spiritual master told him. And that's what he has told us. Try to invoke the attention of Krishna by acting in such a way that Krishna will see you. And he'll bless you with transcendental realization. Jnanam Vijnanam. You'll become aware. Like when you go out, Veronica, Mataji, when you go out on the street and you see people, what happens when you have studied carefully the books and followed the process of devotional service? You see reality in front of you through the eyes of the Shastras. That's what happens. You see people as dogs, acting as dogs and cats. You see people engaged in all kinds of frivolous sense gratification. You see it. You see what it means when you see the sign of McDonald's. When you look at it, you go, oh yeah, there's huge karma for that. You see it when you watch the media and see what's going on with the governments and the war. You become enlightened because you're getting the mercy through your devotional service. You're getting the mercy of the Guru and Krishna. Yes, because Krishna knows everything. He is within your heart and he reveals it to you through Prabhupada's transcendental vision. That's why we say, forced open, O Magyanati Manandasya, forced open with the eyes of knowledge coming from the spiritual master. So rather, knowledge is dependent on devotional service. For example, and we'll carry on with the program, this current publication of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and I saw that our Forest Temple, Prabhu and his wife, they mentioned that we should just go pick up the books at the printing house. Well, that wasn't possible because it wasn't printed in America. And it had to go on a boat and it had to go through all kinds of paperwork from the customs people and the shipping people, and all kinds of checks had to be disseminated for getting the books where they're arriving this week. There are lots of details in arranging that. But when you take on a service like this to distribute these unchanged, unadulterated books and these Bhagavatams, you know, I used to have a set, Yaśodā. Somehow or other, they disappeared on me. And when Madhuhas brought them, he wasn't allowed to sell them at the Festival of India. Do you know that? The guy is going around working so hard to put up these festivals for the ISKCONites. They had rules. No, you can't sell the original Bhagavad Gitas at the site. You have to sell these change books. And you can't sell these Bhagavatams. These are because they're the original ones from 1962, 64, and 65. You have to, you can't do that. So what he did was he hid them in his truck. So when I showed up to Toronto Island for the Rath Yatra, I went to see him because he's my good friend. I've known him. We worked on the establishment of Festival of India in Toronto with a group of our devotees, Murli Krishna and Devi Deva, and a whole group of us worked on establishing the Festival of India to travel across America. It came from Toronto, the devotees here. We've affected millions and millions of people with this work, by the way. And I don't take credit for it. It was teamwork that brought it about, not one person. And Prabhupada's mercy on us. Millions of people. Oh yeah, there's sadhus in India. They've gone to a few people and they got a couple of, okay, that's good. I'm glad that they're doing something. But think about what's going on here in reality. Think about it. So if you want to get the mercy of the spiritual master, you have to act in such a way that you'll get the attraction of Krishna. Because by helping the spiritual master, you get the attention of Krishna. That's the point. That's how you do this. It's not some kind of imaginary process of devotional activity. It's real, it's tangible, it's cooperation, it's hard work. It's not easy. And a lot of people, they criticize us, of course. Well, that's the way of the world. People criticize everybody. But those who are somewhat aware of reality and can see it, they don't criticize, they glorify. And that's important, that people have to show respect for Vaishnavas and for hard work and efforts. Don't minimize. Don't be frivolous and just talk nonsense because you think this is good or this isn't good. Try to analyze what's going on and be a part of it. And that's what we're saying. That we're ready to move to the next stage with this Bhagavatam adventure. It's an adventure. And think about it, we have 2,000 sets of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Delhi editions. And you saw today, there was some kind of error in the typing. But at the same time, I can't see it right now, but I noticed it. Does it matter? No. The mercy of the spiritual master is in his unchanged books. That's it. Unadulterated. Prabhupada presented these before ISKCON had even been established. But they still have the trend. That's all we had, by the way, when we joined the movement. We had a house on Charlton Street here in Hamilton. We lived in it. And the only books that we had were the Bhagavatam, Delhi Bhagavatams, to have the class from. There was no Gita. We had the blue Gita eventually. It appeared, but we didn't have any Gitas. We had the Bhagavatams. And Krishna Katha mentions that actually all the information that you need is in these Delhi Bhagavatams. So we're very happy that we can join together as a team to present these Delhi Bhagavatams. And please help us, get a hold of us, and let us know what you can do to help us distribute these books. And then after that, we'll carry on with all of the projects that we're doing along with these classes. These classes are sadhana. It's like in the temple, when you were a temple president or a member of the temple, you went to Bhagavatam class every day. And myself and Yaśodā have given thousands of lectures on the Bhagavatam. Yeah. Well, 365 a day. Every day for years. How many classes do you do after 16 years of full-time service? Think about it. So here we're giving everybody a chance to give the flavor of Krishna consciousness when it was operating back in the 70s. The same feel, the same motivation, the same intensity. Some people may not be able to accept it. Oh yeah, we understand that. And especially in the ISKCON group, they're sentimentalists. That's what they are. They're confused, they're bewildered. So anyway, we're going to move forward with the next section of our program, which is time and circumstance. This is a very interesting part of our group meetings, part of it where Yaśodā-nandana is going to go and delve into specific parts of the Shastra and expose the reality of the truth coming from Śrīla Prabhupāda. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you very much for that. We are reading from Time, Place, and Circumstances, which explains the unique position of Śrīla Prabhupada. We're on page number 6. Therefore, the rules and regulations are that nobody should blindly accept any disciple. They must behave one another at least for 1 year, so that the prospective disciple can also understand whether I can accept this person as my guru. And the prospective guru can also understand whether this person can become my disciple. This is the instruction by Sanatana Goswami in his Hare Bhaktivedanta. And this quote is from a Prabhupada lecture on Bhagavad Gita on February 25th, 1975. It is well known that Śrīla Prabhupada conducted, It is well known that Śrīla Prabhupada conducted a large number of initiations by proxies or representative who would often recruit the new candidate, train him, teach him the basic aspects of Krishna consciousness on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupada. After the required period of training, the new devotee would be recommended to be formally initiated as a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada. This practice of proxy representation was not widely practiced before Śrīla Prabhupada, if at all. Then we have a quote here. So on your carefully considered recommendation, I am accepting these girls and boys as my initiated disciples, and their names are as follows. They may send their beads for chanting along with a copy of this letter to Kirtanananda Maharaja. Now you instruct them carefully that they must chant 16 rounds daily without and always follow the regulative principles, as well as engage in daily duties of temple attendance, classes, and street samkirtana. The word initiation means to begin, not that when he is initiated, the disciple becomes slack. Rather, upon initiation, he begins spiritual life in earnest. This is from a letter from Prabhupada to Makanlal Das on June 22nd, 1973. Regarding the initiations, I'm pleased to accept on your recommendation the following devotees as my disciple. This is from a letter to one Gunagrahi Das on October 14th, 1973. In many instances, Śrīla Prabhupada gave second initiation or Brahmanical Diksha by tape recording without physically, personally giving the mantra to the disciple. Go up, please. When giving Gayatri mantra and other Sampradaya mantras, it is understood from the Shastra that the Guru must personally whisper the sacred mantra in the ear of the initiate. This is not only the tradition, but the actual process given in the sacred Shastras. The use of a tape recording to convey mantra would constitute a departure from the standard traditional scriptural injunction. Yet, Śrīla Prabhupāda explains, this particular upcoming quote is from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, text number 54. Sriman Vira Raghavacharya, an acharya in the disciplic succession of the Ramanuja Sampradaya, as remarked in his commentary that Chandalas, or conditioned souls, who are born in lower than Shudra families, can also be initiated to circumstances. The formalities may be slightly changed here and there to make them Vaishnavas. Then Śrīla Prabhupāda explains, this is again another lecture to Makhan Lal on June 22nd, 1973. Regarding second initiation, enclosed is one sacred thread chanted on by me, and the Gayatri mantra. This should be instructed to Mahamuni in private. Have him hear a tape recording of the mantra in the right ear. Hold a fire yajna for the first initiates. Then we have another instruction from Śrīla Prabhupada, another letter on December 6, 1973. I hereby accept on your recommendation Hasyakari Prabhu and his wife Nari Devi Dasi as my second initiated disciples. Enclosed, please find one thread duly chanted on by me and 2 Gayatri mantra sheets. You may take instruction from Rupanuga Maharaj on the proper performance of a yajna, and the mantra may be heard through the right ear from the cassette tape recording. In one instance, Śrīla Prabhupada told the wife of a devotee to chant the Gayatri mantra in her husband's ear. This is a very famous letter. I'm enclosing it with your sacred thread, duly chanted on by me. Gayatri mantra is as follows. Ask your wife to chant this mantra and you'll hear it, and if possible, hold a fire ceremony as you have seen during your marriage and get this sacred thread on your body. Saradiya or any twice initiated devotee may perform this ceremony. So we'll leave it, that's the conclusion here. There are 3 significant points in this connection. 1, Śrīla Prabhupada authorized the mantra to be chanted by the wife of the soon-to-be Brahmana. 2, Śrīla Prabhupada authorized the wife of the soon-to-be Brahmana to perform the fire sacrifice. 3, Śrīla Prabhupada authorized the prospective Brahmana devotee to receive his Gayatri initiation by mail. We'll leave it at that for now. And the reason we're reading all this is to basically understand the circumstances, Prabhupada, time, place, and circumstances, how Prabhupada made different adjustments to the process of initiation to facilitate the preaching and the expansion of the Krishna Consciousness movement. Hare Krishna, back to you in the studio, Vishwakarma. Hare Krishna.
Oh, very revealing, wasn't it? Thank you. Very revealing. And it supports this principle of ritvik initiation by an officiating priest, which we did perform during Prabhupada's personal presence. And I have a few letters in which he gives the same instructions to me personally in writing, how to initiate people at the Toronto Temple under his direction. And we are simply following that system because we still accept that Prabhupada is living with us. He is not gone. And Prabhupada told us what to do, and we're simply doing the same thing. I know many of you are good Prabhupada disciples. You're very good devotees of Lord Chaitanya, And you may want to get initiation, and we're prepared to sponsor you. Yes. And present your case to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Yes. Because Krishna is there. Prabhupada is living with us. And in this way, one can become a bona fide spiritual follower, disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada. This is not mental concoction. This is not mental speculation. This is fact. And that was proven today. Thank you. That was very interesting. Very inspiring, actually, for me to hear that. And the fact of the matter is, we have rules and regulations to determine whether or not a person that's attending this program that we've created, not just the classes, but the whole system, can be sponsored to be initiated. Like, for example, you have to attend the classes. We have a situation in India where one of our members is coming to the program on a regular basis. And he calls me and Yaśodā on a regular basis to discuss philosophy. He wants to ask questions. He has so many questions, and we give him the answers. And he's making advancement, and you can hear it in his voice. He's getting a crystal clear understanding of how to understand Krishna consciousness without any contamination. The source is important. You have to come to the classes. If you don't come to, now you may not be able to come to the live presentation. We understand that because this is a global broadcast. During the program every week or every 3 days, I get the feed. I said to Ram Raghava today, hey, I'm not getting the feed on my Facebook. Now, that feed I get is, I send it to groups. I send it to about 25 different groups around the world, and which have say a 10,000 member reach. So that's why I always get a hold of Ram Raghava. I say, please send it over. And then I send it personally to a lot of people, like Romeshwar. I send him the class 3 times a week. I don't know if he listens. He may not. He's whatever, doing whatever. But we at least show them Bashu Ghosh and other people like that, Garuda, etc. I send them the classes so that they can see that we're steady in our approach. And we expect the members that want to be sponsored as Prabhupada disciples, you have to get sponsored by one of us. Yeah, we have a group. So we have Vijaya Pandit in Italy. Okay, he's there. Now he's got some members that come to his program. They see the class. Sometimes he have guests, sometimes he doesn't, etc. Now, if he calls us up and says, oh, by the way, I have this person, they're chanting their rounds, they're following the regulated principles, the same thing that Prabhupada did, and they're attending the classes or they're going to the classes on YouTube, the Hare Krishna Society YouTube channel. So if you can't be here at the live view, you can see it later. A lot of our colleagues, our friends, they go to the class later because it's a different time zone. Okay, it's practical, but they at least come to the classes and hear the philosophy, understand what is being preached, and then repeat it to others without compromise. And in this way, they can get it sponsored. Yes, we'll sponsor them. I'm going today to my Markham ISKCON. And my mind's going through all the different things I think I'm going to speak to them. I'm focused, Prabhus, on getting them Bhagavad Gitas. That's my goal. But it's interesting to note that there's a lady there that stays with the lady that's the president of this center, and her name is Bhishmaka. And she is the wife of Vishnu Tattva, who is my godbrother, and he passed away some years ago. We were working together throughout his devotional career, actually. And in the last days, he reached out to me. Actually, I went up to his hospital when he was going to die with my godbrother Drupada, and we went there to Sudbury. It was a long journey. It was about 10 hours by car, by boat, and this and that. We got there and we went right in the hospital, and guess what we did? We started reading Chaitanya Charitamrita to him while he was on his deathbed. And I have the pictures. We have a video of it. We have a video of it, proof. And we stayed for 3 hours and read him Chaitanya Charitamrita. We came back the next day to the hospital and read, and guess what? He was revived. It was a miracle of devotional activity. And Drupada is my witness. And the film is our witness. So on one of our media channels. So Krishna consciousness is tangible, it's real. And getting initiation is done by the sponsorship of other godbrothers. So say Ram Raghava has somebody in his area. He could say, oh, well, this Prabhu is really sincere. Oh, really? And they come to the classes. They chant their rounds. I know personally, I see it. I tell people to come here. I have witnesses to prove that I chant my rounds every day. I do. Because someone could say anything. Oh yeah, well, this guy doesn't chant his rounds. I do chant my rounds. And I have witnesses. I have people that live here that witness it. I have other people that come here, like Abhimanyu. He knows. He's been coming to my house for 12 years. He knows. He's a witness. He'll tell other people, oh yeah, Vishwa does that. You have to have witness. That's how you have proof. That's what you do in court. You bring witnesses. I saw him chant his rounds. I know it. Okay, it doesn't, Krishna knows anyway, but this is the point. And so all of us, we're witnesses to these people that are sincere. I'm very excited for Bhakti Amber. And she said something so wonderful to me in an email that this is the greatest moment in her life. She's 100% right. This is the greatest thing. And we're being very careful. Sure, we've made mistakes. Some of these people we've recommended in the past, they come, they go up and down. Okay, we're trying. It's not our responsibility. Look at most of the people that joined Prabhupada's movement when he was personally alive. Most of them blooped right away. Look at Karandar. The guy didn't last more than 2 or 3 years, and people say, oh, you remember that? No, I don't remember him. He only served a couple of years. Big deal. This is a commitment, a lifelong commitment to this spiritual process. This is not up and down like a yo-yo. So just a few thoughts. I better stop. Let's go to the panel and get some views from them, and then we'll carry on with the very interesting parts of our program now, and another lecture by Śrīla Prabhupāda coming up. Dharmabhava in Dallas, Texas, who's been a devotee for 52 years. He said the other day, well, 30 years or so. I go, wait a minute. So we did the real, that's a commitment. Go ahead, Dharma Bhavana. Haribo.
Yeah, I was thinking about Hare Krishna,
the
recent readings about 10 minutes ago. We were talking about how Prabhupada did things differently than other people in the tradition because he had all different circumstances, the disciples around the world. Many things were done differently, but at the same time, the essence was always kept.
Yeah.
And one time I was in one of the farms here in Texas. There's about 10 farms. One of them is 7,500 acres. But anyway, this farm, the devotee asked me how I got initiated. Now I told him it was through the mail. Prabhupada chanted on the beach and sent it through the mail. Authorization for Gayatri was through the mail. And he had a funny look on his face. Because many of the groups and lines say they don't accept that Prabhupada has all these powers and potencies to do things differently. They're even taught that the devotee given the initiation, the guru has to be within eyesight of the whole ceremony. And so they have these kind of rigid ideas that really they don't understand Prabhupada's powers and potencies. It's just kind of an amazing phenomena that Prabhupada can do all these things, but many of the Vaishnavas do not accept it. It's just a very controversial thing, but it can be understood. It's necessary for all these things because Prabhupada was in a very, very different circumstance. And there are also statements in scriptures that the Acharya is as independent as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he can do things in a very special way without some rigid rules like you can't cross the ocean or things like that. So I appreciate the class today, especially the last part, reading all these letters to help us understand this. That's all.
Thank you. It's a PhD program. You will get the understanding of this philosophy by attending. And this is how you become a fixed up. That's the term, Raghava. Fixed up, not fixed down. Fixed up devotee. And there's a difference between someone who's fixed up and someone who's confused. There is a difference. We used to have a lot of people in the Toronto temple, maybe 125 devotees full time. And some of them were more fixed than others. Some never went to the program, and some of the people came all the time. For example, for our kirtans with Madanga and cartels. And they were ecstatic, by the way. We used to chant for hours. I sadly miss that. That's a circumstance that changed. But some of the devotees were there. Murli Krishna was there every day, and he would chant and dance with us, with Sri Lokanath and Jita Kandarpa and the other godbrothers, Kamsahanta and all these godbrothers with us. And we would chant with intensity and sincerity and enthusiasm, and it was through the roof. It was truly. And we used to taste in that association with each other ecstasy in Krishna consciousness. And you know that, Mother Achisha. Even when Nandi, I'd go up to Montreal and visit my godbrother Nandi, who was an excellent kirtan player. And what's that other devotee, the musician? That musician, really, I did a few recordings with him, a very expert musician, very good chanter. So much ecstasy in Krishna consciousness, if you follow it properly. And Ram Raghava, let's look at today's YouTube attendance. How many people we got over there?
We've got, we had up to 11. Right now we've got 10. No questions today either, but I did have a question. I wanted to.
Go ahead.
But something that we read today, and some people might wonder about this when they read this. The specific part is, material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous for him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. So my question was, some people may think, but if they're mitigated, why is it that some devotees are suffering? Why is it that there's still material miseries in the forms of bodily disease and etc.?
Yaśodā-nandana, could you give us an answer, please?
The way to understand this is whatever miseries a devotee is experiencing have been minimized by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the understanding. Because a devotee, also everybody has past karma from the past life. So in this life, a lot of the difficulties we're experiencing are due to these past activities. But by the mercy of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, these sufferings have been greatly minimized compared to what we're supposed to receive had we not taken to devotional service. So a devotee is always thinking, tate nukampam susamikshamano, that whatever miseries I'm experiencing, this is very minimal compared to what I deserve to suffer. So therefore a devotee doesn't accuse Krishna or complain to God, why am I suffering? Because we understand philosophically where the suffering comes from is due to past karma. And we know that by the influence of devotional service, by the power of bhakti given by the pure devotee Śrīla Prabhupāda, that suffering eventually will completely disappear. I mean, there's a lot of different angles to this, but basically that's how it is.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We're going to move on to our next section of the program, which is the chanting of Hare Krishna, led by Śrīla Prabhupāda. And after that, we're going to see another class, a brief class, about 8 or 9 minutes, of Śrīla Prabhupāda speaking the truth to all of us here on the Hare Krishna Society Prabhupada Disciple Program. Hare Krishna, Hare Bo.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam. So one must know how to connect Krishna. Krishna is everywhere. This is Krishna consciousness. This is Krishna consciousness. One must know how you can derive from these features of Krishna's form in iron or metal. That doesn't matter. Krishna is everywhere. And you have to learn how to contact Krishna with everything. That will be explained in this system of yoga. We learn it. So, the Krishna consciousness is also yoga, the perfect yoga, the highest of all yogic systems. Anyone, any yogi may come and we can challenge and we can say that this is the A1 yoga system. This is A1 and it is very simple at the same time. You haven't got to exercise your body. Suppose if you are weak or you feel some tiredness, but in Krishna consciousness you won't feel. All our students, they are simply anxious to be overloaded with work. Krishna consciousness. Swamiji, what can I do? Or what can I do? And they are actually doing. Nice, very nice. They don't feel tired. That is Krishna consciousness. In material world, if you work for some time, then you will feel tired. You will require rest. Of course, I am not, I mean to say, exaggerating myself. I am an old man of 72 years. Oh, I was ill. I went back to India. I have come again. I want to work. I want to work. Naturally, I should have been tired for all these activities, but I don't feel. So far I can do. I want to work. I want to day and night. At night I work with dictaphone. So I am sorry if I become sorry if I cannot work. This is Krishna consciousness. One must be very much anxious to work. It is not that it is an idle society. No. We have got sufficient engagement. They are editing papers, they are selling papers. They simply find out how Krishna consciousness can be spread. This is practice. Hare Krishna,
Next to our devotion,
Hare
chapter
Krishna.
8, offenses to be avoided. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. First, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali, Kali or Durga, Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Sixth, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful reactions. It should not be taken that one may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities. Karma Kanda. 9th, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, but in the beginning one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. 10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names. and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare
Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and we're full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks, everyone, for attending the program. Thanks, Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Ram Raghava in Georgia, USA, and we have Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Mumbai, India, Krishna Kata Prabhu in San Diego, Bhakta Maxim Haraneka in Belarus, and we have Veronica, Bhaktin Veronica in Italy, Madame Rochissa Mataji dans la province de Quebec, Amber Andy in Florida, and we have Vijay Pandit in Italy and his good wife Gopika in Dueville, Italy. Comeva, grazie mille. And Forest Temple in Baja California, beautiful hats, beautiful Prabhupada hats, and everybody attending the program. Thank you so much. Please join us on Wednesday at 5:00 p.m. for another reading and discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we also want to thank a devotee in Hawaii who is very actively engaged in distributing books. Our good friend Dinashraya Prabhu, a Prabhupada disciple, every single day of the week, he distributes books along with his project there in Hawaii, and he's working with Vedaguya to increase book distribution all the time. Our respectful obeisances to this very, very nice Prabhu and everybody who is attending the program and engaged in the service of Śrīla Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Bala Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama